Have you ever wondered why Coca Cola and Pepsi are always competing? Well, there's a story to it, a saga that spans over a century. Picture this: the late 19th century, two fledgling brands, Coca Cola and Pepsi, emerge in the burgeoning soft drink market. Coca Cola, the elder of the two, was first to the punch in 1886, while Pepsi followed suit just a few years later in 1898. From these humble beginnings, the brands grew, their paths converging in a rivalry as fizz-filled as their signature beverages. As they expanded, their competition intensified, each brand striving to outdo the other in innovation, marketing, and global reach. This competition wasn't just about selling a sugary drink, oh no, it was about capturing hearts, minds, and taste buds, about becoming a household name, a global icon. The rivalry between these two soft drink giants is more than a century old and still continues to this day. The Cola Wars didn't start immediately, it was a slow burn that eventually exploded. As with any great rivalry, the seeds of the Cola Wars were planted long before the first shots were ever fired. Let's take a step back and look at the origins of these two giants. Coca Cola, the elder of the two, was born in the late 19th century. Conceived by Dr. John Stith Pemberton, a pharmacist from Atlanta, Georgia, this drink was initially marketed as a patent medicine, promising to cure everything from morphine addiction to indigestion and headaches. On the other hand, Pepsi came into existence a few years later, in the early 20th century. Its creator, also a pharmacist, Caleb Bradham, from New Bern, North Carolina, initially introduced it as Brad's drink. It was later renamed Pepsi Cola, inspired by the word dyspepsia, meaning indigestion. In their early years, both companies had a similar strategy. They were selling their drinks in syrup form to soda fountains, where it was mixed with carbonated water and served to customers. But as time passed, the strategies started to diverge. Coca-Cola focused on creating a distinctive and consistent taste, and an iconic bottle design that would be recognizable even in the dark. Pepsi, however, chose a different path. They played with the size and the price of their product, offering a 12-ounce bottle for the same price as Coca-Cola's 6-ounce bottle. As the years rolled on, these two companies continued to grow and evolve. Coca-Cola with its classic taste and iconic branding, and Pepsi with its savvy marketing and customer-focused approach. They each carved out their own space and their own loyal customer base, and with success, they each began to take notice of the other. The stage was set for an epic rivalry, a battle for supremacy in the soft drink market. As both companies grew in popularity, so did their rivalry. And so, the Cola Wars began. Just like in any war, strategies are crucial, and both Coca-Cola and Pepsi had their own unique approaches. In the early days of the Cola Wars, Coca-Cola, being the first mover, focused on building a strong brand image. Their slogan, "The Real Thing," was designed to establish them as the original and authentic cola drink. They pumped millions into advertising to drive home this message and build customer loyalty. Pepsi, on the other hand, had a different approach. They didn't try to outdo Coca-Cola at their own game. Instead, they sought to differentiate themselves. In the mid-20th century, Pepsi launched the Pepsi Generation campaign. The idea was to brand Pepsi as the choice of the new, young, and vibrant generation. It was a direct jab at Coca-Cola's traditionalist image. Fast forward to the 1980s and 90s, and we see both companies shifting their strategies as the market dynamics change. Coca-Cola, realizing the growing health consciousness among consumers, introduced Diet Coke. This was a strategic move to cater to a new segment of health-conscious consumers. At the same time, Pepsi, recognizing the popularity of sports and music among the younger generation, began to associate its brand with pop culture. This led to partnerships with celebrities like Michael Jackson and sports stars like David Beckham. In the 21st century, both companies started to focus on global expansion and diversification. Coca-Cola launched its Open Happiness campaign to connect with consumers on an emotional level worldwide. Pepsi, meanwhile, expanded its product line to include snacks and non-carbonated beverages, thus reducing its dependency on the cola market. Each of these strategies had significant implications for the competition. Coca-Cola's focus on brand image forced Pepsi to constantly innovate to differentiate itself. Pepsi's emphasis on the younger generation pushed Coca-Cola to continually adapt and remain relevant. And the diversification strategies of both companies have led to an all-out war on multiple fronts, beyond just carbonated drinks. These strategies not only fueled their rivalry, but also changed the face of advertising. In the quest for global dominance, both Coca-Cola and Pepsi set their sights on previously uncharted territories. As the Cola War escalated, the battlefield had to expand beyond the American borders. With this realization, both companies ventured into new markets, such as Coca-Cola's entry into China in 1979, making it the first international cola brand in the country, and Pepsi's successful venture into the Soviet Union during the Cold War, becoming the first foreign product sanctioned for sale in the USSR. The Atlanta-based beverage giant Coca-Cola was the first to take a step. With a simple but effective strategy, their goal was to make Coca-Cola recognized in every corner of the world. They tied up with local distributors and tapped into existing supply chains, ensuring a bottle of Coca-Cola was never too far away, regardless of where you were in the world. On the other hand, Pepsi, the New York-based cola company, decided to appeal to local tastes. They adjusted their recipe to cater to local preferences. For instance, in some markets, they made their drink sweeter. In others, they added a hint of spice. In addition to their localized recipes, Pepsi invested heavily in local marketing campaigns, often bringing in local celebrities to endorse their brand. They wanted their drink to feel not just like another American import, but a beverage that felt local and familiar. Despite their different strategies, both companies faced similar challenges. They had to navigate local regulations, tackle cultural differences, and most importantly, convince consumers to choose their drink over the other. Each new market, like China Coca-Cola and the Soviet Union for Pepsi, were new battlefronts in the ongoing Cola War. The invasion of new markets was not just about increasing sales or market share, it was about making a statement. This market invasion further intensified the rivalry. In this war, the consumers played a significant role. Just as a chess player anticipates the moves of their opponent, Coca-Cola and Pepsi had to anticipate the wants and desires of their consumers. These companies did not operate in a vacuum. They were, and still are, in a constant dance with their consumers, each influencing the other in a cyclical pattern. Consumers reacted in fascinating ways to the strategies employed by both cola giants. The Pepsi challenge, for instance, was a direct appeal to consumers to make their preferences known, and it worked. It shook the Coca-Cola faithful and sparked a soda revolution. This blind taste test led many to believe that they preferred Pepsi, causing a significant shift in market shares. In response, Coca-Cola tweaked its century-old recipe, introducing the infamous New Coke. But consumers didn't take to it kindly. The preference for the familiar taste was so strong that it led to the return of the original formula under the name Coca-Cola Classic. This consumer feedback loop was a clear demonstration of the power held by the consumer. Similarly, Pepsi's youthful and rebellious brand image was a response to the preferences of a new generation of consumers. The choice of a new generation campaign was a resounding success, as it resonated with the younger consumers' desire for something different, something not associated with their parents' generation. In the end, it was the consumers' choices and preferences that shaped the strategies of these two behemoths. Their battle wasn't just about outsmarting each other, but about winning the hearts and taste buds of the consumers. The consumer was not a mere bystander in this war, but an active participant, influencing the strategies, the products, and ultimately, the outcome. Indeed, the consumers were not just spectators, but key players in this war. Fast forward to the present day, where does the rivalry stand? Let's take a quick look. It's the 24th year of the 21st century, and Coca-Cola and Pepsi are still going head-to-head, their rivalry as fierce as ever. However, the battlefield has significantly evolved over the years. The traditional war of taste has evolved into a war of values, marketing tactics, and sustainability. Coca-Cola, the century-old titan, is still leading the market in terms of global sales. They've focused their efforts on diversifying their portfolio. Recognizing the shift in consumer preferences towards healthier options, Coca Cola has expanded into the realm of teas, juices, and even dairy products. Their strategy is no longer solely about selling cola, but about owning the entire beverage landscape. On the other hand, PepsiCo, ever the challenger, has been making bold moves of its own. They've taken a more integrated approach, acquiring food and snack companies, and creating a symbiotic relationship between their beverage and snack products. PepsiCo's strategy is about creating a complete consumer experience, a snack and a drink, all under one brand. Both companies are also making significant strides towards sustainability. Coca Cola has launched a global initiative to recycle the equivalent of every bottle or can it sells globally by 2030. Meanwhile, PepsiCo is committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions across its value chain by more than 40% by the same year. In terms of marketing, both companies continue to innovate. Coca-Cola's Share a Coke campaign and Pepsi's Super Bowl halftime show sponsorships are just a couple of examples of their clever strategies to engage consumers and enhance brand visibility. So where does the rivalry stand? Well, it's more complex than ever. Both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are not just competing in the realm of soft drinks anymore. They're battling for the entire consumer experience, from what you drink to what you eat, and even how you feel about the environmental impact of your choices. The war is far from over, and the battlefield is constantly changing. From humble beginnings to a global warfare, the rivalry between Coca-Cola and Pepsi is a fascinating tale. Our journey began with the birth of the Cola Wars, where two beverage giants took their first shots at each other. We delved into their battle strategies, exploring the innovative campaigns and daring moves that fueled their competition. The market invasion highlighted their relentless pursuit of global dominance as they ventured into uncharted territories. We also discussed the pivotal role of consumers, whose tastes and preferences have often dictated the course of this rivalry. Our analysis of the current status revealed that, despite the changing landscape of the beverage industry, Coca-Cola and Pepsi remain formidable opponents. This epic saga of rivalry, innovation, and resilience is far from over. As the battle rages on, one thing remains certain: the Cola Wars will continue to shape the beverage industry for years to come. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the Cola Wars. This tale of rivalry, innovation, and resilience has left an indelible mark on the beverage industry, and its reverberations will continue to be felt for years to come. If you found this video informative, show your support by hitting that like button. Your likes help us reach more people and inspire us to keep bringing you such fascinating content. And if you haven't done so yet, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Biz Bites. We have a world of business stories to share, from tales of underdogs who overcame insurmountable odds to deep dives into business strategies of the world's most successful companies. When you subscribe, you're not just joining a community, you're embarking on a journey into the intriguing world of business. Stay tuned to Biz Bites for more fascinating insights into the business world. We've got a lot more stories to tell, and we can't wait to share them with you. Remember, in the world of business, knowledge is power. So let's keep learning together.